Ear. What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy Swag back at it again with another bang. And today I have what's hands down the best lockdown build you can make on NBA 2K26, man. It'll be a build that day one, it'll be amazing. When you eventually get your build specialization quest completed, it'll be even better. And then when you reach that first rep that gives you those +5 cap breakers, the build will be at its final form. Now, don't forget to hit that sub button, hit that like button, and turn on notice to not miss out on any build videos, because I can confidently say I'm one of the best creators in labbing builds and reaching that full potential in a build. But without further ado, man, I'm gonna show you guys a lock for 5v5 modes, as well as a lock for 3v3 modes. Let's get it. Starting off with the template, we're gonna go with a 6'6" for the height. I looked at the taller versions and the shorter versions, but 6'6" still remains the best height in my opinion. We're gonna go with 200 pounds, which is the heaviest we can be, while still keeping that 92 agility, as you can see. And then also max wingspan at 7 foot. Now, last year on the 6'6", the max wingspan was actually 7'2". So this year they did lower the max wingspan on all builds. Max wingspan now is +6 inches from your height. So with us being 6'6", our max wingspan is 7 foot. So 6'6" height, 200 pounds, max wingspan. Let's move on to the attributes. Moving on to attributes, we're going to start with our physicals. Now, I'm a big believer in high speed and high agility locks. They were the meta last year, and with steals and 2K26 being more blitz based and not really on ball pluck animation based, I believe the fast locks will have the advantage again this year. So we're going to go with a 92 agility, which is a requirement for legend pick dodger, and then 89 speed, which we can eventually get to 94 speed with future 5 cap breakers. We're also going to go with 72 strength. Now, 71 is all you need for immovable on bronze, but we went 72 just for that bronze brick wall. Now, you might not be setting the most screens as a lockdown, but the few times that you do, like an off-ball screen or a flare screen or something, the screens will just be a little bit better. Finally, we're going to go with a 60 vertical, which is also a requirement for a defensive badge. Now, moving on to defense, we're going to go with a 97 perimeter, which, as you see, gets us every perimeter badge on Hall of Fame, as well as immovable bronze, and then 94 steel for gold glove and Hall of Fame interceptor. Again, with them announcing and confirming that on-ball steel animations are pretty much gone, I didn't think it was worth going higher steel. And with the new badge perks and build specialization, you'll see what we end up doing with the defensive badges. Next, we're gonna go with a 60 interior and 74 block, which is the requirement for bronze paint patroller. And although this is a build for mainly guarding the perimeter, it's nice to have that paint patroller badge just in case you do need to defend the paint. Now, moving on to pass accuracy, in previous 2Ks, this was always an attribute lockdown sacrifice and went really low on. In 2K25, you saw lock builds with 60 pass ac or 65 or 55. We're actually able to get 71 pass for that silver dimer. And 71 is just a nice threshold to have in general. Now, moving on to shooting, we're going to go with a max 3-point rating at 83 and leave our mid-range at a 73. Lockdowns are usually spotted up in the corner, so having an 83-3 with silver set shot, which we can then max +2 to now have Hall of Fame set shot, I think you'll be able to shoot really consistent. Moving on to finishing, we're going to go with the typical sweet spot for lockdowns in 5v5, and that's 72 standing for that bronze rise up. Now, this rating is pretty much all you need to dunk on like backdoor cuts and hash cuts. And even though 62 driving, which is what it goes to by default with the 72 standing, even though the 62 isn't the best, you still get access to some decent driving dunk packages as well. Now, with that, we're a 98 overall, and we throw our last little bit of attributes to free throw to get that to a 78 free throw. Now, please wait, because the build, even though it says 99 overall, the build is not done. For this build, you're going to want to choose the defense build specialization. We already know that the build specialization gives you 2 cap breakers to use on that category, as well as giving you a max +2 and a max +1 for that specific category. So once we complete all 9 quests of the specialization, we can now +2 cap breaker our perimeter from 97 to 99, which now will give us every perimeter badge on legend, which is also why we wanted that 92 agility. And with the build specialization max +2, we turn our gold glove to legend glove, and with the max +1, we turn our Hoff interceptor to legend interceptor. So just by going 97 perimeter and 94 steel, utilizing the cap breakers and badge perks from the defense specialization, we're able to get all our perimeter and all our steel badges on legend. And in case you forgot, we still have 2 more Max Plus 2s, a Tier 1 and Tier 2, and also 2 more Max Plus 1s, a Tier 1 and Tier 2. So with a Max Plus 2 Tier 1, we said we can use it on set shot to get it from silver to Hoff. And since Immovable is a Tier 2 badge as well, we can use our Tier 2 Max Plus 2 to get Immovable from bronze to gold. Now moving on to our Max Plus 1s, we can do Deadeye from bronze to silver for our Tier 1, and then Paint Patroller from bronze to silver as a Tier 2. So I know it sounds confusing, Max Plus 2's 1, Tier 2, but all you gotta know is that all in all, utilizing the 2 cap breakers and the Max Plus 2 and Max Plus 1 from the Specialization, utilizing the regular Max Plus 2s for the Tier 1 and Tier 2, as well as the regular Max Plus 1 for Tier 1 and Tier 2, we now have every perimeter and steel badge on Legend. We have Hall of Fame Set Shot Specialist as well as Silver Deadeye, and we have Gold Immovable and Silver Paint Patroller. And our future 5 cap breakers will go to Speed to get our speed from 89 to a maxed out 94. I mean, if this build isn't the best lock build to you, then I don't know what to tell you, because this is just insane. And it's also very planned out so that the build will continually get even better and there will be no wasted cap breakers and no wasted badges. As we load out of the builder, we get compared to Ron Artest, OG, and Prime Kawhi Leonard with a build named Clamp Thief. An amazing strength, with the only weakness being you can't really finish strong with crazy dunks around the rim. But this type of build and the style that we play with this build isn't made for like crazy dunks anyway. Now, if you love this build and you want a pure lockdown like this, but for park, and you don't really plan on playing any 5v5 modes, you can lower your free throw all the way on this build and get that 60D board. Now, this is just a really small change, but it is nice having Bronze Rebound Chaser if you're mainly playing park than wasting attributes on free throw, which you're never going to use in park. But if you want more of a switchable lock build for the 3s, a build that can guard the ball but also switch onto the center and grab rebounds, I'm going to show you guys that build right now. For this version, because we want to be able to guard the center and rebound and be like a hybrid of lock and big man, we're actually going to go 6'9". And for weight, we still want to be fast and agile since we are still guarding the ball. So we're going to go 1 pound above minimum weight. Now, going 186 pounds allows us to get that 72 strength, which we need for a specific badge. And then for wingspan, obviously as a lockdown, we're going to go max wingspan. Because we're 6'9", we actually have a 7'3" max wingspan, which is really nice. Again, you think lockdown, you think speed, because you do have to keep up with these guards. So we are going max speed and max agility. Now, it's not as high as the 6'6", obviously, but being 6'9", having 86 speed and 85 agility is not bad at all. We're also going 72 strength for bronze brick wall, as well as 80 vert to help battle with rebounds versus centers. Moving on to defense, we're going to go with a 90 perimeter. We do get pick dodger on gold with 90, but as you can see, on ball menace requires 91 and gold challenger requires 92 perimeter. This is where we utilize our 2 cap breakers from our build specialization. So we are going to specialize defense on this build again and use our 2 cap breakers to go from 90 perimeter to 92. Doing this will give us those 3 main perimeter badges on gold, and we can use our Max Plus 2 to turn gold on ball menace to legend, and our Max Plus 1 for either challenger on Hall of Fame or pick dodger on Hall of Fame. Moving on to steel, we're going to go with an 85 for gold interceptor. Now, on a build like this, you want to play more discipline and switch heavy, so not really going for on-ball blitzes, but just staying in the play and maybe playing the lane when switching onto the center. Now for block, we're going to go with an 88. 84 block in specific gives us Paint Patroller, but 88 is what gives us that high flying denier on gold. So whether the guard is rim running or you switch to the center as he's rolling to the basket on a slip for a dunk, you'll be able to get a lot of chase down blocks. Now for interior, we're going to go with 80. Now 82 is actually a threshold for silver post move lockdown, as you can see, but we don't reach the required strength in order to get it. Now 80 doesn't give us any new badge or anything, but as you can see, going 80 interior does unlock 4 potential takeovers, which will help us even more in getting stops in the paint. Moving on to pass sack, because this is mainly for 3s and you'll be switching a lot and potentially grabbing the rebounds, we went with 75 pass sack for that silver break starter, so you can throw the passes up the court a little faster and a little smoother. Speaking of rebounding, on this build, we're going with an 85 D board and a 70 O board. Again, it's not anything crazy, But remember that your position is still lockdown, not center. So having 85 rebounding as a secondary rebounder is actually really good. And you'll see what we do with the max +2s on this build later on. But moving on to the shooting, we're going to go with a max 3-pointer of 80 and leave our midi at a 70. This gives us silver set shot specialist, which again with our tier 1 max +2, we can get set shot on Hall of Fame. And finally, the finishing. This is one of my favorite parts of the build because as a lockdown on the threes, you will always have the opposing team's PG guarding you because the lock will be guarding your teammate PG and the center will most likely be guarding your teammate center. So with that in mind, we're going to go with an 80 dunk and a 77 post control. Now 80 dunk not only gives you gold area wizard, but also unlocks a lot of really good dunk packages. And then the 77 post control in specific unlocks that silver post up poet, which allows you to post spin your opponent easier. Now this combo allows you to attack the guard who usually doesn't have high defense with backdoor cuts, backdoor lobs, and even post spins to the paint. Now let's get to the most important part of the build, how to fully utilize the badge perks in the build specialization. So again, we're choosing the defense specialization and using the 2 cap breakers we get from these quests to get our perimeter from 90 to 92. Doing this will give us on-ball menace, challenger, and pick dodger all on gold. We can now use our defense specific max +2 to get our on-ball menace from gold to legend. And I realized that challenger is a tier 2 badge, so we can actually use our defense specific max +1 on paint patroller to get it from silver to gold. Hopefully you guys are following. I know it's a little confusing. Now with our regular max +2s, we're going to do set shot from silver to half as our tier 1 and challenger from gold to legend as our tier 2. Like I said, challenger is a tier 2 badge, so we can use the max +2 tier 2 from challenger gold to legend. And finally, with our regular max +1s, we can do rebound chaser from silver to gold or interceptor from gold to half for our tier 1. Both of these are really good options in my opinion, so you can choose which one you want to do. And then high flying denier from gold to half as our tier 2. You can also use pick dodger here. You can do pick dodger as an option from gold to half if you rather do it over the high flying denier. But since this is like a switch heavy build, I don't think you're going to be fighting through screens a lot, but it's honestly up to you which badge you want to use here. So all in all, the build is 6'9", max wingspan with legend on ball menace, legend challenger, half set shot, half high flying denier, gold paint patroller, and then gold rebound chaser or half interceptor, all while having dunk and post control. Just an insane build all around, man. As we continue to the end screen, we actually get shades of Cooper Flag, which is really cool, and get the build name Edge Enforcer. And there you guys have it, man. Don't forget to hit that sub button, hit that like button, and turn on notice to not miss out on any build videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the build and the breakdowns. I know it can all be a little confusing, but hopefully I was able to explain it well. Let me know in the comments which build you prefer, or if you plan on tweaking the build a little differently. If you want to watch more of my build videos, there they are right there on the screen, in-depth breakdown for everything. But until next time, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.